All right, hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Scootsy16 here with Super Mega Baseball 4, and our Chemlock League is about to begin. If you got a chance to catch our introductory video, I pretty much just walked through the setup and everything, and I also determined what team that I was going to be doing this Chemlock challenge for. So, quick little recap. Essentially, I have a randomized league similar to the Super Mega Baseball League, excuse me, and it is called the Chemlock League. And we randomized in the last video what team I was going to be starting off with, and coincidentally, it's the Outlaws. So, of all of these teams, I'm going to be starting with the Outlaws. And my rule is for this challenge that I had to come over here, look at the chemistry structure of this team in the bottom right hand corner, and you'll see that orange is tier 2, yellow is tier 1, purple is tier 3, blue is tier 2, and green is tier 1. I have to stay in those tiers for the entire time that I am running the Outlaws. I cannot stay outside of those tiers at any point in time to be able to stay within this challenge, and my goal is to be as successful as possible with these tier structures. So I have a lot of work to do, especially since I love those spirited yellow traits and I won't get to really leverage them at all, but at least there is one chemistry, the purple discipline chemistry, that I get to leverage and lean into. So we'll be doing that. But this is not the team that I'm going to be working with. I'm actually going to do a shuffle draft. So I have to work within the chemistry structure of this league or of this team as I am doing my shuffle draft. So I am very excited about this. I'm also very nervous about this, but we're going to see how it all plays out. So I'm going to head up to franchise here. I am going to select the new franchise. We're going to go with let me get all the way down here to the Chemlock League. I am going to find my Outlaws. There they are. And let's do the franchise setup. So once again, I am setting up 16 games per season. I am going to do 6 innings because we are going to watch all of these games. I am not physically playing them. This is all going to be simulated. But I want to watch every game, and 6 innings will make them shorter so that the videos aren't too long. We are not going to have any auto runner starting in the extra innings, so we are going to turn that off completely. We will remain with 8 playoff teams. That's going to be 4 per conference. So that'll be 2 conference or division winners and then 2 wild cards per conference. That'll make it to the playoffs. We will do 3 playoff games per series, and then we will be starting with a shuffle draft. So what I'm going to do in editing after I record this video is I'm actually going to put up a box in the top of the screen that will show you the tier levels that I have to work with, the ones that we already talked about. I have it written down in front of me, so I have these notes to keep an eye on as I go through the shuffle draft, but you all will see this as a reminder across the top of your screen that will help you to keep track of what my chemistry restrictions are as we go through this draft. So it doesn't matter what kind of traits I get, it's just the impact that those traits have based on the Outlaws team structure. So I'm putting this off long enough. It's time for us to jump into the draft. So here we go. Again, all of these players are completely randomized, so I have no idea who they are. I have no idea what these players can do. All right, we're in. Okay. So good start right out of the gate is we have Justice Cologne, or Justice Colon, and we're going to go with Cologne. Justice here is 25. That's great to see. She's a switch hitter. She has great power. She has good contact. She has great speed, good fielding, good arm. She has Ace Exterminator and Base Rounder. And you'll also notice that she is a disciplined player. I need to get disciplined up to tier 3. So I'm going to have Base Rounder maxed out, and Ace Exterminator will be tier 2, which means she'll get a plus 20 power and plus 5 contact boost when facing an A minus pitcher or better. That looks like a great start, but we're going to look at everyone just to determine who we might decide going with. Juliet Carr, not going to consider a closer at all unless we absolutely need to. I'm going to try and avoid that. So no to Juliet Carr. Top long stroke, great name. Right fielder with below average speed fielding and arm. Inside pitch and dive wizard. Inside pitch would be nice. He's a good hitter, but I mean, he's not any better than Justice Colon. Zeke Alvarez with an elite changeup. Has great accuracy and junk, has below average velocity, a four-seam curveball change, and he's a long reliever, and he is disciplined. Leon McLean, not a bad pitcher, but I'm going to try and avoid the yellows like the plague since I can only get 2 of them max. Same thing with Crafty. Lucas Stone has tough out, volatile. I'm not interested. He's also 34. Severus Homebrew would be a player I would look at getting if I was playing in my normal structure, which is clutch is one of my favorite traits, so I would definitely look at that. But I think that we all know what I'm going to do here. Justice Colon, welcome to the team. You are our captain. You are our primary outlaw. And Justice is a perfect name for this team as well. So excited to have you come aboard, Justice. We're going to skip through all the other draft picks because we don't even know who they are at this point. And let's see. Hani Ribeye is disciplined, has easy jumps, and because Crafty will have to stay at tier 1, that means it is going to get the major effect, which is not good whatsoever. Not interested in taking that risk. Next, let's see. Natalie DeOrange, 4-pitch lefty starter. She'd be our ace. Has great accuracy, has good junk and velocity. 1 fastball, 3 off-speed pitches. Ugh, not that exciting. Bad jumps here for Raphael Yuppers. Would be 34, center field, infield, outfield. This is a good player, but I don't think that he is that exciting. I'm also not too worried about age because we're not going to be with these teams for too long. Okay, Rock Quintana here is a very interesting pick because he is crafty, but he has off-speed hitter with 70 contact and power. That can look really good. I don't need him to be super fast, good fielding, decent arm. I might actually look at getting Rock Quintana, but I have to be very careful about not getting too many crafty players. All right, contact first righty won't be that exciting. First pitch Slayer would only get the 10 and 15 boost, so I don't know if that's the route that I would go for this. We'll come around to that, back to him. Werner Walter, great name. Lefty, long reliever, 3 pitches, great velocity, only 1 fastball. Junk is below average and accuracy is okay. Caitlin Roth, center fielder, pretty fast, average fielder, average arm, below average contact, and good power. And then we have Veranda Hickman. Little hack. You know what? I think I'm actually going to go with Rock Quintana here, specifically because of that off-speed hitter trait. Second baseman, I like this. We're going to go with that. All right, Rock Quintana, join the team. I'm getting very nervous about this. I hope that I can make sure that this lines up properly. All right, so we have Alexis Sacred. He's 40, so he's probably only going to be on the team for 1 year. He has low pitch, which is great. He has his worst attribute is contact, which not the best. He's going to be a good fielder at shortstop, so we'll keep an eye on that. Chico Long Pants. Bad ball hitter is great, but it's not going to be good for us because it's only tier 1. Pinch perfect would not be very applicable because he's never going to be on the bench pretty much. Good power and great arm, though. All right, Russ Rosas. Great hitter. He's got magic hands. He's got utility, so he can play first and outfield. Low speed, fielding, and arm are little. I would like them to be a little bit better than that, but not a bad option to consider. He's 24. Jeremy Buchanan, he's a closer. Calvin Villa has whiffer. I don't like that trade at all. He'll be in left field. There's Dalton Babshishin. I've seen the name before, but I've never had to say it before. That's a pretty good player right there. He's not that much power, but he has everything else that we'd need. He's 23. He's a center fielder. That's an ideal option right there. Barrett Andrews is almost the same type of player, has magic hands at third base, but not much of an arm at third. I don't really like that. And then Dakota Pecorino would have wild thrower, even though it's a 97 arm. I don't want tier 3 wild thrower, which would just mean a high chance that he's going to commit an error while he's throwing. I honestly think Dalton Babshishin is going to be our guy. He's a great outfielder. He's 23, so we don't have to worry about regression. I know I said I wasn't worried about age, but 40 I think is too old for me to feel comfortable with it. So I think I'm going to go with Dalton. Russ, not a bad option here, but I don't think it's worth it. And he's a little bit slower and not the greatest fielder in the outfield. I think Dalton is a good pick here. So Dalton, join the team. I'd like to get some pitching going here, but it depends on who comes to us. So we'll see here. Chirp Wallace, second baseman. He would be playing short for us because we already have Quintana over there at second. Good player here. Good speed, good fielding, okay arm, okay contact, okay power. Would like it to be a little bit better, but we'll see what else we have here. Wilfred Norris, long reliever, 3 pitches, velocity junk, and just below average accuracy. We have Rory Bowen, 4 pitches, accuracy, then junk, then velocity. He's a lefty. He has 3 off-speed pitches, so that would be nice for that junk. Leon Cross, left fielder. I don't know if that's a good idea. Agro Bond, right fielder. No, I'm not interested there. Bam Bingo, really great name. I'd like to see him circle back here a little bit later. Bash Lowry, pretty good relief pitcher. And then Evie Frown, pretty good average across the board. Oof, this is tough. Chirp Wallace looks really nice. I think Rory Bowen might be the play here, just because we need a start. We're 3 rounds in, or at 4th round already, and we don't have a pitcher. I don't want to have a really shallow rotation, which I think we probably will. But I think Rory is going to be our pick here just for the need. So we're going to go with Rory. Let's go ahead. I don't know if he'll still be our ace depending on what else falls to us, but like here, geez, Kellen Kirk has K Collector, has a great accuracy. We'll have tier 2 K Collector, which is plus 15 velocity and junk. He has 2 fastballs, 2 off-speed pitches. He's a lefty. Him at the top of the rotation along with Bowen looks really nice. Jacoby Maddox, 3 pitches, great stuff. K Collector here as well. Gosh, they're making this really difficult for me. There's Cantor Murphy. Nothing that stakes out, but he's a pretty good player there. Another K Collector. This is Brendan Lowe, 24. Does not have great accuracy, though. Clint Brock, relief pitcher, not too bad. We have Jeremy Higgins. He's 41. He's a good fielder and has good arm, but everything else is just average. There's Bax Hansen. No, his arm is too weak for me. And then there's Grover Charles, and I'm not interested in either of those 2 traits. I think at this situation, the reason I would opt to go for Jacoby Maddox over Kellen Kirk is because Jacoby is a competitive player, and I really want to try and avoid getting too close to that tier 3 for Crafty. I do not want to draft an extra player on Crafty with my hands tied, especially towards the end of the draft. It can get a little hairy. So we're going to go with Jacoby Maddox here. I also think that he is a good um, relief pitcher to have kind of anchoring our bullpen. So Jacoby, come on board. Next, we have Harper Robles. Great shortstop there, but he's 40. Bunter really means nothing. There's Aurelia Hickey, and I don't like much of her game, but if she was our primary second baseman, that wouldn't be too bad. Problem is, that would put Quintana over at shortstop. Remy Bowman's a closer, going to pass. Justin Ribeye would have walk prone, but that's tier 1 walk prone, so it's only minus 12 accuracy. That's still a debuff, and I don't necessarily want to have that. Tori Miranda, only good at contact and speed. I don't like that. Breath French would have volatile. That's a trait that I'm not a huge fan of. Let's see. Enzo Armstrong, right fielder, great power, below average contact and speed, good fielder, great arm. It's not a bad option there. Enzo is somebody I'd consider. And then we have Crisp Lopside. Whew. That's a player we might be able to get behind. Reverse splits is not that impactful. -5 power, -8 contact when you're facing a lefty. But he's 19. He's got amazing accuracy. He's got four-seam curveball change. He has an elite change or curveball, which would get played up to tier 2. The junk and the velocity is not super impressive, but he could just naturally develop that. I think of the player options here, I like Crisp Lopside the best. He's also the second most valuable player in this group here. So I'm sorry, Enzo, but I'm going to have to pass on you to go with Crisp Lopside in the bullpen. So looking good there. And we are now up to tier 2 for our purple discipline traits already, which is great to see. I'd like to get more traits on the team, but we'll see how that plays. Collins Angeles would have tier 3 wild thrower, so I'm just going to pass on that right out of the gate. We have Giovanni Mays. Giovanni, great hitter, great fielder, has a little bit weaker arm than I like, but having him behind the plate, that's an option I'd like to consider for sure. Rhett Austin, the guy that I'd like to, this is like the type of player that I'd like to have on my team, especially in left field, RBI hero, but I have to pass. Madison Zoner would have Steeler, but it would be tier 1. I don't really care about that, so I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist. She's not strong enough at third base. Tristan Miners, you're going to get passed on completely. I'm not even going to look at anything there. Aiden Hines, going to pass here with you. Isabel Williamson, I'm going to pass just because you're spirited. Not a bad player, though. She's 37, so that's going to be something I'd have to struggle with. And then Isaiah Terrell, 26, pretty good player. I think my obvious choice here is going to be Giovanni Mays. I think he's going to be our primary starting catcher, so that's going to be fun to see. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the whole league is a DH league, so there are no pitchers pitching or hitting for themselves unless they get pinch hit because they're a good hitter. Jerry Love, left fielder, infield, outfield, so big utility player, has fastball hitter, which is pretty good. He does have wild thrower though, and I don't like risking that. If he didn't have wild thrower, I think I'd really lean towards getting him. Josue Huerta, which is a hell of a name. Sprinter and stimulated. I'm going to have to pass on him because he's green. Escrow Thicket, I'd have to pass on her as well. Whistle Thornton is not that impressive to me as a player. He's okay. I wouldn't say I'd be opposed to getting him. What I don't like is that low fielding, especially if he's going to be playing left field. But I might have to put him in center and then have Babshishin play either left or right, which I'm not a fan of having him as one of our faster players playing a secondary position. Sullivan Curry could be a decent Starter would have specialist, but that doesn't mean anything essentially. He's not that great though. Lachlan Garrison would have Wild Thing, no thanks. Love Carpenter, 42, and Spirited. And then Lionel Davis would have Clutch. Oh, see, this is what stinks. I would love to have him on the team, but I think I have to pass. So who do I go with here? There's not a lot to like. I do like Jerry Love, but I just don't like that wild thrower trait in the outfield. I think that's a huge risk. He's not that fast to be in the outfield, and I don't think I'd like him playing secondary infield most of the time. But that contact with fastball hitter at tier three, does he become our? Maybe he's our DH. We could have him as a DH. I might go that route because I think contact and that average power gets boosted significantly. I think we could see him play really, really well. So I might go that route. Actually, I think I will. So we're going to go Jerry Love here. He's going to be our DH, even though he's getting put in left field right now. We're not going to have him stay there. We'll be setting all of our lineups. So, all right, we still need a third baseman. Terrence Sparks is not the guy. He is not a good defender. He would actually be a DH consideration, of course. Braden Scarelli, right field, outfield, 25. Good power, okay contact, good speed, good arm, has tough out, so that would help with that contact. It's plus 25. And then base rounder will boost that speed even more. He's not a good fielder, but I think he's a really good option. I actually like him a lot in right field, so that might be our route. Marshall Rhodes going to pass. Beetle Stevens has whiffer. Not a big fan of that. He would not get to play first base because that's where Justice Colon would play. William Arbor, not very accurate. Dewey Peacock has elite slider, four seam slider, and change. Not a bad pitcher there. Sandro Dela Cruz, he's a big power hitter. And then we have Grover Saunders, who would have noodle arm, of course. That would be a decent shortstop if he didn't have noodle arm. He's 31, so I don't expect him to get rid of it at any time. So I think I like Skrelly here as our right fielder. I need more pitching. That's where I feel like I'm struggling right now. All right, Glass Snyder, outside pitch, good contact, average everything else, or slightly above average everything else. I wouldn't hate that being our shortstop, or I mean our third baseman, excuse me. Emil Bradley, good pitcher, crafty, crash turncoat. Not a big fan of him, although he's got a really cool name. Caesar Baring. Oh, I like him being or like being able to play everywhere, but I think I'd have to pass on him. He's not really good at anything else. Plover Day. He's already a C plus, so we're starting to get down there in talent. Elite slider. Okay. Dane Schaefer gets ahead. That wouldn't be too bad. Reese West, not a bad pitcher. And then Lily Dubs. Elite four seam has a one fastball, three off-speed pitches. Do we go with Lily Dubs here as a starter? Or do we go with Glass Snyder without? I think I go with outside pitch. Our offense can carry our pitching, I hope. So we're going to do that. And we've gotten to tier 2 for our orange traits or our competitive traits, which means that we don't have to get any more orange players. We still need 2 more blue scholarly players, and we need 2 more purple players at least. And we're still doing pretty good with crafty and spirited, or the green and the yellow, keeping those below tier 1. All right, so Muhammad Holmes, great accuracy, would have workhorse, so he could last a little bit longer. He's 39, not a good ideal option. Deacon Cannon, I wish he had a better arm. He's 20, so he could still develop. He's not a bad option at short. Conrad Mashington, the pitcher, falls behind and crossed up. I don't like that. Ralph Green's not good at all. Meadow Cortez, I'm going to pass on her. Beth Peppers, nope. Jane Fiducci, no for choker. And then Clark Cohen, starting pitcher, four seam and three off speed pitches, has an elite curveball. Not a bad pitcher. I think I might go Muhammad here. Muhammad Holmes as our second starter in the rotation. Man, we really need to beef that rotation a little bit more. Luckily, our offense is looking really good, but this is not looking too great for our pitching staff. We're going to be relying on those relievers. Keep in mind, we're playing 5 inning or 6 inning games, so those pitchers don't have to go too deep into ball games, anyways. All right, Calvin Villa would have whiffer. Not a fan of that. Otis Frost is a closer. No. Miles Suarez has rally stopper. Ugh, it's so frustrating. K neglector as well, which I'm going to have to pass on him for that reason. Casey Liu is a catcher with injury prone. That's a very bad combination. We have Saul Ferguson, would be low pitch and would have good fielding and a decent arm at shortstop. We have Mutton House. That's a funny name. Has three different off-speed pitches, so that junk would really play up, and he's got an elite slider, which would be tier 2. He actually could play better than his attributes look. His accuracy is terrible, but he's got a lot of junk. He can probably make them swing and miss a lot. Brittany Robles, okay at this point. And then Carl Para, he's actually pretty decent for a B minus. 2 fastballs and a slider. I think the one I'm leaning towards is Mutton House here. That's such a funny name. I think I'm going to go this route with Mutton House. Maybe we can find like a diamond in the rough B starter or something like that to kind of push this rotation a little bit more even across the board, because right now it's feeling really rough having a C plus in our 3 spot. Okay, Pavla Kirk, shortstop, good player all around, has contact versus lefties, which would only be a +5 boost, so pretend it doesn't exist. Rena Barrera has whiffer. That's not great. Dane Rollins would have metalhead, would have gets ahead. He has amazing accuracy, and his other pitches aren't that great. Gustav Ashley would have mind gamer, would have durable. That doesn't really do anything for me. Emmeline Merritt, 4-seam curveball slider, good junk, elite curveball, interesting. Legend Buckley, cool name, sweet shades. Not a guy I think fits my team. Banjo Prince, another cool name. Not gonna draft him. And then Amaya Turtles, a closer. Gonna have to pass. So our options would be, I think, either Pavla Kirk, which we can't afford the one player. Should be a decent defender. We could do Dane Rollins, or we could go with Emmeline Merritt, which I think is pretty much just like Mutton House, but the relief pitcher version of it. I might go Dane Rollins here just because of the purple trait. We need 2 more. We have time. Maybe I sign our shortstop. She can play infield, so she's got some flexibility there if we find somebody else. That +5 would put her at 62 through 63 contact. Not bad. We'll put in Pavla Kirk and see how she does. Yeah, let's do it. All right. Next, we have Kenneth Donovan would have reverse splits, so he'd be impacting lefties. He'd have an elite curveball. He's got low accuracy, but he's got very great stuff. 4-seam curveball slider. That's nice to see. An elite curveball. That's good. Aggro Bond. Not that great. Crescent Browning. These names. Um, Good junk. Not great velocity or accuracy. Plus, I don't want to sign another spirited player right now. Waldo Ho. Nope. Jacob Skrelly. Is that the brother of our right fielder? Interesting. Stu McIllies. Not going to consider him. Josiah Cleverly. No thanks. And then RJ Solomon with Little Hack and Dive Wizard. No, I think this one's pretty easy. I think we go Kenneth Donovan here. Our bullpen is looking pretty solid, actually. So I would like to see a B or a B minus, a starter to join the rotation. But for right now, I think our starting pitching our starting pitching looks a little, and our bullpen looks pretty decent. All right, Quinn McBiddles, great name. Bad jumps and base jogger, only affects her speed. Ugh, I just don't think she's that great. Um, Luciano Stevenson, not excited about him. Tori Miranda gonna have to pass, although we do need another left fielder to get Grover Love into the DH spot. Jamie Nash, starting pitcher, 3 pitches, gonna pass. Madeline McMillan, no thank you. Danita Haynes with clutch. I'm gonna have to pass there. Burnt Despot, no thanks. And then Nick Douglas. C plus, he's 20. He can develop. He's kind of average across the board. He could get a little bit better. Not a bad backup option. This kind of stinks that that's where we're at, though, looking at either a backup middle infielder, or do we go with, no, we're not doing the 3 pitch starter. I think I go here. We'll go Nick Douglas. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we did get our tier 2 for scholarly, so we're good there. Our only goal at this point is one more purple player and no more spirited or crafty, yellow or green. Okay, 5 Spice Dupree, center fielder only. That's an interesting option. It would push Babshishan to left, and that would put Love into the DH spot. It has terrible contact, though. Urkel Plunder, 3 pitch starter. Gotta have to pass there. Ford Richardson has an elite 4-seam. Nothing that's that exciting. Thaddeus Lee here. That's not a great looking pitcher to me. Augustus Mastiff, sign stealer and bunter. Doesn't look great to me. Some negative traits here for Drew Patel. No. Mind Gamer and Wild Thrower on a catcher. No, thank you. And then Cora Bobbert has easy target and Butterfingers. Not good on your middle infielder. This is pretty unfortunate. Do we go with Thaddeus Lee? Do we go with 5 Spice Dupree? Or do we go with Ford Richardson? I think Ford is our guy. Decent player. Has an elite 4-seam to play up that 41 velocity. Junk and accuracy are pretty good. Yeah, let's do Ford. We can afford that. We can afford that. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, we have a lot of work to do here still. Tiddly Davenport, outfielder, plays center. Musty Donovan can play all the outfield spots. Not a bad option there. In the outfield. Power versus lefties wouldn't really do much, but not great contact. Goldie Yellington, nothing that stands out to me there. Edgar Lang would have durable. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't think durable plays on the stamina of a pitcher at all, by the way. Geist Toolsy, tier 1 stealer, would not really have much of an impact, and that's all he can do. McKinley Canto. See, this would be a good player to have on your team as like an emergency outfielder, but primarily as a pinch runner. If you are leaning into your crafty traits, he'd be pretty. 2.9 is really cheap, and he'd be a really great player to have on the team for that. All right, McKinley Canto, 21, good accuracy, has consistent. I don't think I can do that. Norbert Waller, good fielder, but doesn't really do anything else. And then Rodrigo Harper, 86 velocity with an elite four seam. That could be something we consider, but that would put us at two spirited players, and then I can't afford having another one. And that would also close out our rotation pretty much. Do we go with Tiddly? Do we go with Musty? I think I go Musty here. He's got a really great arm. He's got good fielding, so he can play all three of the outfield spots pretty viably. Decent speed, just below average contact. I like Musty here, but then I cannot have any other competitive players sign on my team. So I'm making it really tough on myself right now. So Musty comes in, no more competitive players. So that means Ever Lovin' Stewart is off the list. Cesar Fernandez is off the list. Ooh, it's starting to get intense. All right, so Jalen Villarreal, decent, decent relief pitcher. That's nice to see. I really wish we could see another good starter pop up, but we're not really seeing those at all. Fernanda Branch. This is interesting. Who do we have at third base right now? Glass Snyder. Ooh, interesting. Be a really good backup option. Fernanda Branch here. She could also play our shortstop for us instead of Pavla Kirk if she's not doing well. Cannon arm is really good. Has good hitting abilities. Fernanda might be my girl. Plover Day. I think we're kind of resigned to not having a good fourth starter here, but again, our offense will hopefully offset that. Count Chambers, no. Cade Fleshman, no. We can't do that. And then Anaya Hogwash, no accuracy. So it comes down to Jalen Villarreal, Fernanda Branch, or Plover Day. And I don't think Plover Day is impressing me, so I think I'm going to go Fernanda here. And again, now we can't. Now we're crossing off any competitive players and any crafty players. And if we get to a point where I have no other choice because of what's in the player pool here, I will immediately have to sign a different player when we get into the season. I will have to pay extra for a player that I can't. Until I can replace them appropriately, I'll have to pay for an extra player here. So, okay, Beth Peppers, closer. Can't do Emma. Isaiah Ingram is somebody I could consider, but doesn't look good. I can't do Lillian. I can't do Harold. I could do JDL Tran, catcher. Not a bad catcher option and has bad jumps, which is okay. That could be the route we go. Or Alfredo Levine. Look at that outfielder. This is kind of Super Samson kind of style player in the outfield here. Let me see. I have to make sure that I have enough players here. So our infield would be Glass, Justice, Rock, Fernando, Pavla, and then Nick Douglas. I'd like to have one more infielder. And then we have outfielders, Jerry, Dalton, Braden, and Musty. So we have four infielders. I need a catcher. Wait. 1, 2, 3. What am I missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm set on infielders. I need a catcher and I need an outfielder. Of course, those are the two options that I'm looking at here that are pretty viable. Alfredo with your great defense, with no hitting abilities whatsoever, or JDL Tran, who has a good arm. Can't really do much else. I think I'll do JDL here. Actually, you know what? I think to be safe, I'm going to go with Alfredo so that we can get our tier 3 for our disciplined, and we will be locked in with everything, and then we just need to make sure we don't go overboard. So I think I'm going to go Alfredo here. Yeah, sorry, JDL. Maybe we can get you later. Okay. So I can still go with purple, or I can go with Maurice Matthews. Still need a starter. I can't do him, I can't do him, I can't do him, and I can't do her. So my options are either Kieran Johns, who has falls behind and has no junk whatsoever, or I can do Maurice Matthews, who has an elite four seam, is not good at anything, has stimulated, which is useless. Two fastballs, two curveballs. I think I'll go with Maurice Matthews. Man, that's a tough start. That's a really bad starter. It is what it is. We might find other options on the waiver wire. Okay. My only choice here is Alex Hernandez. Glad we didn't go with a catcher earlier. All right, so Alex, you're coming in just out of curiosity. I wouldn't be interested. Would be an okay option. I wouldn't actually mind having Emmett Pine. Colette McGillies, no. Wow, that's a really weird pitcher. Huh. Okay, Alex Hernandez, you're in. Okay, so this last pick, I can either do blue, purple, or yellow. So I don't have an option for yellow. So it's either Emmeline Merritt, who we saw earlier, so I'm glad she's back, or Reeve Klopp, reverse splits, walk prone, which would be low tier, so only 12 would be lost. I think I go with Emmeline Merritt here. And we did it, folks. We were able to stay at tier 2 for competitive, tier 1 for spirited, tier 3 for disciplined, tier 2 for scholarly, and then tier 1 for crafty. That was so tough. I'm not happy with my rotation. I really wish that there was a better starter to be available to us. I think our offense is really great. I really wish that we had a few more traits to work with, but let's take a look at the team. So let me check really quick and see what we're at with time. Okay, we're still doing good here. This will likely be the longest episode of the entire series. So thanks for sticking around, everyone, with me while we went through all of that. All right, so we'll set the lineup before we finish this video. But just a recap of the team, our primary catcher is Giovanni Mays. Pretty solid. He's 32, so he's on the back end of his career, but that's okay. We're really only looking at a 5-year trajectory here, so he's a decent option there. Giovanni Mays with great hitting abilities, good fielder, a below average arm. I'd like that to be a little bit higher, but it is what it is. He's slow, but that's okay. Alex Hernandez, all he has is an arm, and that's kind of all we need at catcher. I would rather that fielding be a little bit higher, but we really were limited in our choices for backup catchers. He's 22, so he can still develop. Justice Cologne is our captain. She is everything you want in a captain. A great hitter. She's got ace exterminator, so plus 20 power and plus 5 contact when facing an A- or better pitcher. She's a switch hitter. She's a lefty thrower, so she's first baseman. Perfect. She's 25. Really, I couldn't have been more excited to see her pop up at the beginning of round 1. Rock Quintana, our primary second baseman here, he is going to be a player we will see hit really well. Off-speed hitter means he's probably got some good pop in that bat. He's 24 as well, so young core that we're working with here. Glass Snyder, our third baseman, like to see him with that outside pitch trait coming in. He's 36, so he's kind of on the tail end of his career, but backing him up is Fernanda Branch, who's 20, so she'll naturally slide in if Glass doesn't end up playing well, or if he ends up regressing significantly right out of the gate. Fernanda can also play short for us, so if we want her to start at short, we can consider that. But then we also have Pavla Kirk, who is a good fielder herself. She's a good hitter. She's a bit slow, and she has contact versus lefty, which really is not significant here at all. And then we have Nick Douglas, a backup infielder, just kind of average across the board. He's got some time to develop, so we'll take that. Jerry Love is going to be our primary, probably going to be our primary DH through this series. He has fastball hitter, he has maxed out wild thrower, which is terrible, sorry. But again, if we have him DHing, he's not going to be playing the field. That great contact along with fastball hitter, I hope that pops that power even more. Dalton Babshishin, great core center outfielder position that we're going to see ranging out there. Has good arm, has great fielding, has good contact as well. Kind of might be our leadoff hitter. That's what I'm thinking, at least for the time being. Alfredo Levine only in here as a backup outfield option. Good speed, good fielding, great arm. Braden Skrelly, he does not field very well, so he will primarily stay in right field. He's got tough out. He's also got base rounder, so that speed is going to play up even more as he's running the bases. He's a good hitter, not great, but good. And then we have Musty Donovan, and I actually might think of keeping Donovan as our primary left fielder. Good fielder himself. He's probably going to be a bottom of the order bat, but I see him playing pretty well, holding his own there in left field. All right, Rory Bowen is our ace. He's 21. He's got room for development. Nothing too impressive about him, but he should be able to do pretty well at the top of our rotation. Mohammed Holmes, not too bad, workhorse. So hopefully he can eke out some innings for us. And then Mutton House, I think his benefit's just going to be effectively wild. With his elite slider, along with the rest of his junk pitches, I think he's going to throw a lot of these batters for a loop. And then Maurice Matthews rounds out our rotation. I don't really have anything to say about him. He was kind of our only option, and you can see he's not happy to be on the team either. But that's Maurice. Elite four seam. Hopefully that plays up with that 50 velocity. But yeah, I don't see him playing very well. Luckily, we have a pretty solid rotation behind him, so hopefully they can help pick up the slack for him. We have Crisp Lopside, 19. Has reverse splits that won't play very much, but he's got amazing elite accuracy, and he has an elite curveball as well. So hopefully that can throw a lot of hitters. Jacoby Maddox is kind of I would say he is the core and the leader of the whole pitching staff. He is a K collector. He's got great attributes across the board here. Like to see him on the team. Kenneth and Donovan also has reverse splits, has an elite curveball as well. He's effectively wild, just like we were talking about with Mutton House. Ford Richardson, again, elite four seam, but nothing too much to write home about here. And then we brought in Emmeline Merritt. It's one of our last draft picks here. Not bad for right at the end of the draft. So I'm okay with that. All right, that's the team. Let's go ahead and see what the lineup would look like. I am going to do the suggested lineup first, and then we'll go from there. So Jerry Love, immediately, we're going to put you in right field, or we're going to put you at the DH spot. And then we're going to put Glass Snyder at third. We're going to put Fernanda Branch at short. And then we're going to put Pavlova Kirk replaced by Musty Donovan. And then let's see, everybody else is in the right spots. So let's put Babshishin in the number 1 spot. Let's put we could put Braden Skrelly in the 2 spot along, especially with tough out. And then we go with Cologne. And then we can go with Jerry Love. Or we could do Rock Quintana here next. And then Jerry Love. Giovanni Mays. Yeah, our pitching, or our hitting is pretty deep. Our batting order is deep here. And then we'll put Fernanda in the 8 spot. And then Musty Donovan is our worst hitter in the starting lineup. I can dig that. I'm down with that. All right. So this is what the lineup will look like most of the time. Babshishin in center, Skrelly in right, Cologne at first, Quintana at second, Love DHing, Mays catching, Snyder at third base, Branch at short, and then Donovan playing left field. So let me know what you think. What did you see that you liked, and what do you think this team is going to look like? Do you think we have a team that can compete for a championship in year one? We'll definitely look to see if we can make changes to the roster as we advance through the year. Oh, last thing I wanted to mention for you. I didn't touch the logo at all. I don't plan to do that for any of these teams, even if I take them over, but I do plan to create a new uniform each time I take over a team. So the selected uniform, the alternate uniform for this team will be, I'm so excited to reveal this. That's our alternate uniform. I think it can play for both away and home. I think it looks just super freaking cool. Really proud of that barbed wire design. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, subscribe, follow the playlist so you can keep up with all of these videos as they get posted. I'm gonna try and post a video every Monday morning. So keep an eye out. Monday mornings, you'll see these videos come up. If I can get myself on a consistent schedule, I might do them more frequently. But again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for actually, is there any way I can get the I think if I do this, 1 second. So I'll quickly simulate to our first game. And the Pythons in our division already won once. And if I go here and I select our uniform, will that... Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's where we're going to leave off. This is your Outlaws team for the Chemlock League Challenge. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Give me your opinions. We'll be watching game one next time we come out. I'm excited for this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to hear your feedback. We'll talk to you all next time, everyone. Bye.